She just exposed herself with one Instagram like, and the media's losing their minds over it. Look, Caitlin Clark did something so unbelievably normal that it somehow became national news. While everyone's fighting about Bad Bunny performing in Spanish at the Super Bowl, while people are turning a halftime show into a political war zone.
Ey, Titi me preguntó si tengo muchas novias. Ey, muchas novias. Hoy tengo una, mañana otra.
Caitlin went on Instagram and did the most basic thing possible. She liked a post. That's it. One single like. And now Sports Illustrated is writing entire articles trying to decode what it means. The media is acting like she just released a manifesto.
So Bad Bunny is going to be the Super Bowl halftime show for 2026, and there's a lot of complaints about it, and looking at it, this really just shows a huge problem with Americans where they don't even know their own history in their own country. Originally, the NFL wanted to get Taylor Swift to do it, but she said no because of biases with her fiancé Travis Kelce also being in the NFL, and also she just didn't want to do a free gig when the NFL gets paid $50 million by Apple to sponsor it. Bad Bunny got the gig instead, and he's been under a lot of controversy the last 9 months because he's no longer is doing US shows, fearing that ICE would try to deport the people who are attending it. So because this, many conservative commentators like Megyn Kelly have called this a middle finger to the right, and also many right-wing figures have said hiring Bad Bunny is anti-American. What people are forgetting here is Puerto Ricans are American. Puerto Rico has been part of American territory since 1898, and since 1917, Puerto Ricans have been US citizens. In the early 2010s, Puerto Rico even had a Republican governor named Luis Fortunio, who was the most conservative governor in the country, and Mitt Romney almost made his VP. If you're anti-Puerto Rican, you're literally anti-American. With that, I'm Charles Pearl. Subscribe.
But here's what's actually happening. This isn't about Bad Bunny. This isn't about the halftime show. This is about how Caitlin Clark can't breathe without someone writing a think piece about it. And honestly, the way the media twisted this into a story tells you everything you need to know about the fishbowl she's living
U.S.
in.
President Donald Trump criticized Bad Bunny's performance at the Super Bowl with a post on his own social media platform saying, quote, "The Super Bowl halftime show is absolutely terrible, one of the worst ever. It makes no sense, is an affront to the greatness of America, and doesn't represent our standards of success, creativity, or..."
Before we dive into this absolute circus, drop a comment right now. Did you actually watch Bad Bunny's halftime show? Not the political commentary afterwards, not the hot takes, the actual performance. What did you think? Because I want to know if anyone's still capable of just watching entertainment without turning it into a culture war. All right, so here's the setup. Super Bowl 60 just went down. Seattle Seahawks demolished the New England Patriots 29-13. But let's be completely honest about Super Bowl parties. Nobody's actually laser-focused on every single play. People are eating wings, drinking beer, and waiting for halftime. That's just reality. And this year's halftime show was Bad Bunny, the Puerto Rican superstar, who basically threw a 15-minute celebration of Puerto Rican culture on the biggest stage in American sports. Music mostly in Spanish. Dancing. Celebrities everywhere. It was a whole production. Now here's where things get messy. The decision to have Bad Bunny perform was controversial before he even stepped on that stage. We're living in a moment where having a Latin artist performing primarily in Spanish at the Super Bowl was always going to generate massive reactions. Always. Some people loved it. Some people hated it. Some people made it about politics. Some people made it about culture. It became this whole thing where you couldn't just enjoy music without it becoming a statement. And whether you agree with the decision or not, it's hard to argue that making Bad Bunny the Super Bowl halftime performer didn't make a statement. The NFL knew exactly what they were doing. Bad Bunny knew what he was doing. Everyone involved understood this wasn't just entertainment. This was going to be a cultural and political moment whether anyone wanted it to be or not. But here's the thing. Not everybody has to have some deep political take on every single thing that happens. Some people can just watch a performance and enjoy it for what it is, without turning it into a referendum on immigration policy or cultural identity or whatever hot-button issue people want to attach to it. And it seems like Caitlin Clark took exactly that approach. ESPN made an Instagram post on February 8th that showed screenshots of all the celebrities who made cameos during Bad Bunny's performance. The caption said, Lady Gaga, Jessica Alba, Pedro Pascal, Ricky Martin, Karol G, Young Miko, David Grootman, Cardi B, and Alex Earl were in Bad Bunny's halftime performance, with some emojis. Pretty standard social media post highlighting the star power of the show. That post has gotten over 830,000 likes so far, and one of those likes came from Caitlin Clark. That's it. That's the big reaction. Caitlin Clark liked an Instagram post about celebrities being in the halftime show, and somehow this is newsworthy enough that Sports Illustrated wrote an entire article about it with the headline, "Caitlin Clark's Reaction to Bad Bunny's Super Bowl Halftime Show Draws Attention." Now, let's talk about why this is absolutely ridiculous on multiple levels. First, liking an Instagram post is not holding back. That's the title of this video, and it's what people are saying online. But come on. Holding back would be if she posted some long statement about the cultural significance of the performance, or criticized the NFL for making a political statement, or anything that actually required her to take a stance. She liked a post about celebrities. That's the most neutral, non-committal social media activity possible. The article itself even admits this when it says, perhaps some viewers were more captivated by the many celebrities who made cameos during the halftime performance. This seems to be the angle that Caitlin Clark took. Yeah, no kidding. She liked a post about celebrities. She probably thought it was cool to see all those famous people in one performance. That's not a political statement. That's not commentary on Latin culture. That's just, oh cool, bunch of celebrities were in that show. But the fact that this is being treated as news tells you everything you need to know about how people view Caitlin Clark. She's under a microscope constantly. Everything she does gets analyzed and dissected and turned into some kind of statement whether she wants it to be or not. She can't even like an Instagram post without it generating headlines and articles speculating about what it means. The article tries to make this into something bigger by framing it as Caitlin being invested in the halftime show because her beloved Kansas City Chiefs weren't playing in the Super Bowl for the first time since 2022. That's some serious reaching. She liked a post about celebrities in the halftime show, so obviously she must have been super invested in watching because the Chiefs weren't playing? That logic doesn't even make sense. Maybe she just watched the Super Bowl like millions of other Americans and thought the halftime show was entertaining. Maybe she liked seeing all those celebrities together. Maybe she doesn't have some deep political take on Bad Bunny performing in Spanish. Maybe she's just a person who watched a football game and used social media like a normal person. But apparently that's not possible when you're Caitlin Clark. Here's what's really happening. Caitlin Clark has become such a massive figure in sports that every single thing she does gets turned into content. Liking an Instagram post becomes a news story. Her social media activity gets monitored and reported on like she's a politician or world leader. And because she's become this cultural phenomenon that transcends basketball, people are constantly trying to figure out what she thinks about everything. The Bad Bunny performance was controversial, so naturally people want to know what Caitlin Clark thought about it. Did she support it? Did she oppose it? What's her take on having a Spanish-language performance at the Super Bowl? And when she doesn't give them a clear answer because she just liked a post about celebrities, that becomes the story. Caitlin Clark reacted by liking this post, so what does that mean? It means absolutely nothing. It means she saw a post on Instagram and clicked the like button. That's the entire story. But we live in an era where everything has to be analyzed and everything has to mean something deeper. A WNBA player can't just enjoy the Super Bowl halftime show without it becoming a reflection of her values or beliefs or political leanings. Let's also talk about the double standard here. Male athletes can post about or react to the Super Bowl halftime show without anyone writing articles analyzing what it means. But when Caitlin Clark likes a post about celebrities in the performance, suddenly it's newsworthy. Why? Because she's Caitlin Clark, and people are obsessed with her every move. The scrutiny she faces is on a completely different level than almost any other athlete. Every social media post gets screenshotted and shared. Every like gets noticed. Every comment gets analyzed. She's living in a fishbowl where even the most mundane activities become content for sports media to dissect. And here's the ironic part. By making a big deal out of her liking this Instagram post, the media is kind of proving the point that she can't do anything without it becoming a story. She probably didn't think twice about liking that post. She probably scrolled through Instagram, saw some cool celebrities were in the halftime show, hit the like button, and moved on with her life. But now there are articles being written about it and videos being made analyzing what it means. The article mentions that Caitlin Clark is someone who usually stays out of drama. That's true. She doesn't insert herself into controversies. She doesn't make political statements. She plays basketball and tries to live her life. But the drama finds her anyway, because people are so desperate for her to have an opinion on everything that they'll manufacture controversy out of nothing. Liking an Instagram post about celebrities is not drama. It's not controversial. It's not a statement. It's literally the most basic social media interaction possible. But when Caitlin Clark does it, it gets treated like she released a press statement weighing in on the cultural and political implications of Bad Bunny's Super Bowl performance. The reality is that Caitlin Clark probably just enjoyed watching the Super Bowl like millions of other people. The halftime show had a bunch of celebrities in it, which was cool. She liked the post about it. End of story. But that's not good enough for sports media that needs to generate content and clicks. So instead we get articles with headlines suggesting she didn't hold back when literally all she did was click a button on Instagram. This is what happens when you become as famous as Caitlin Clark has become. Your entire life becomes content. Everything you do gets monitored and reported on. You can't have a private moment or a casual social media interaction without it being turned into news. It's exhausting just thinking about living under that kind of constant scrutiny. And the worst part is that this kind of coverage creates pressure for Caitlin to stop engaging with social media altogether. When every like and comment becomes a story, the safest thing to do is just not interact with anything. But that's not fair either. She should be able to use social media like a normal person without having to worry that liking a post about celebrities is going to generate headlines. The Bad Bunny halftime show was always going to be divisive because of the current political climate. Having a Latin artist performing primarily in Spanish at the Super Bowl was a choice that the NFL made, knowing it would generate strong reactions. Some people celebrated it as important representation. Some people criticized it as inappropriate for America's biggest sporting event. Those debates are happening, and people are entitled to their opinions. But Caitlin Clark liking an Instagram post about celebrities being in the show is not her weighing in on that debate. It's not her making a political statement. It's not her taking a stance on representation or culture or anything else. It's her seeing a post and clicking like. That's it. Anything beyond that is projection and speculation from people who want her to have an opinion that she hasn't expressed. The fact that Sports Illustrated wrote an entire article about this and framed it as her reaction drawing attention is kind of absurd. The only reason it drew attention is because they wrote an article about it. If they had ignored it, like they ignore when literally any other athlete likes an Instagram post, nobody would be talking about this. But they know that Caitlin Clark's name generates clicks, so they turned nothing into something. This is the media landscape we live in now. Everything is content. Every interaction is analyzed. Every like is scrutinized. And athletes like Caitlin Clark, who are massively popular, have to navigate this constantly. She can't just exist and enjoy things without it becoming a story. The article even tries to pad out the content by mentioning other Caitlin Clark stories at the bottom. Unrivaled injury update, and Sophie Cunningham switches stance on Caitlin Clark's juggling skill. They're using her name to drive traffic to other articles, because they know people will click on anything with Caitlin Clark in the headline. Here's what should have happened. Caitlin Clark liked an Instagram post. Nobody noticed or cared, because it's a completely normal and unremarkable thing to do. Everyone moved on with their lives. But instead we got multiple articles, and now this video breaking down what it means that she clicked the like button on a post about celebrities. The obsession with Caitlin Clark has reached the point where the most mundane activities are being treated as significant moments. And that's not healthy for anyone involved. It's not healthy for Caitlin, who has to live under this constant microscope. It's not healthy for sports media that's stretching for content. And it's not healthy for fans who are being fed nonsense stories that don't actually tell them anything meaningful. So there you have it. Caitlin Clark's big controversial reaction to Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime show was liking an Instagram post about celebrities. That's it. No statement, no hot take, just a normal social media interaction that got blown way out of proportion because she's Caitlin Clark. If you're tired of every single thing she does being turned into manufactured drama, hit that like button and subscribe. Let me know in the comments if you think the media needs to chill out and let Caitlyn live her life.